Hello everyone, welcome back to the English lesson. Today, as usual, I'm going to take you through with the focus on the present continuous tense. In this lesson, we are going to have a look at some different uses concerning the use of the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense or the present progressive tense is used to describe an event or activity that is happening right now or at the time of speaking, around now, something temporary, and also to describe a future event. I know that there are some circumstances concerning the use of the present continuous tense. However, let's just spend our 10 to 15 minutes today with the focus only on the points that are covered in the present continuous tense as mentioned. Okay, first let's take a look at the present continuous tense used to describe the event or something that is happening right now or something that is happening at the time of speaking. Have a closer look at the examples. I would definitely say I am teaching English right now and you are listening to me right now. The next thing is where the present continuous tense is used to describe an event or something that is happening around now. For example, I would say, he is building his house. Well, just for you to know that he might not be building the house right now, but he is building it around now. We don't know how long does it take him to get the house built, but he definitely is going to finish building it soon. So you see, the present continuous tense in this case describes something that is happening around now. We also use the present continuous tense to talk about something that is temporary. Not something that happens all the time, but temporary. Now refer to this example for more detail. They are staying with their friends in Delhi at the moment. We know they live in a house somewhere not in Delhi, which is a permanent resident. But when they are in Delhi, they are staying with their friends. So the present continuous tense takes the job of describing something temporary. Another example, I would say, he is reading a book now. Again, we don't know how long does it take him to finish reading the book for, but he's not going to read it for a longer term. He might finish reading the book sometime today or tomorrow, but most importantly, he started reading the book now and will definitely stop reading it shortly. So you see, the present continuous tense is describing something temporary. You often might think that the present continuous tense is only used to describe an event or something that is happening now, around now, or temporary. Not the past, or maybe not a specific tense used to describe the future events like future with will and shall, and or be going to. However, as additional information to your knowledge, I would like to let you know that the present continuous tense can also be used to describe some kind of the future event or known as the future arrangement. Something you might have been aware of when it comes to using present continuous tense to describe a future event or arrangement. A very important thing to bear on mind concerning the use of the present continuous tense to describe the future event is that we have to make it clear to say it in a specific way, most particularly by using the future time expressions such as tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, either in both saying it or writing it. Now, please refer to the 3 examples on using the present continuous tense for future event. I'm meeting my friend at the airport tomorrow. He is going to Baucau next month. They are taking the final test next week. So, at least, these are some of many example sentences used with the present continuous tense to describe the future event or a future arrangement. So, remember, when using this tense to describe a future event, it is important to make it clear by mentioning the future time expressions such as tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, next week, next month, and or next year, along either in verbal or in written forms. Now, let's look at how to form the present continuous tense. First, please refer to the formula on how to form the positive or the affirmative sentences. In the formula, S or subject in this case is I, you, he, or she, or it. We, you, and they comes at the beginning of the sentence, plus the to be verb, in this case am, is, are, then plus the base form of the verb, plus ing form, then followed by the O or object. Please refer to the table in the first column for this example sentences. Also, please refer to the next column for the table as to the subject category, where I is the first person singular, you is the second person singular, while he for male subject is the third person singular, and she for female subject is also the third person singular, and it refers to a thing or an animal in general is also the third person singular. And we is the first person plural, then you again in this case is the second person plural, and they is the third person plural. Okay, now let's look at the first positive sentence, or as suggested by the formula. I am reading a book, where in the sentence I in this case is the subject, then followed by am in this case is the form of the to be verb, then plus the base form of the verb read, followed by the ing form to make the verb becomes reading, then followed by a book, in this case is the object. So I am reading a book. Also, please refer to the other example sentences with the rest of the subjects in the table. You, she, he, it, we, you, and they in this case are the subjects, then followed by is, the form of the to be verb, which is only meant for the third person singular subject, as to he or she and or it, and then are, the form of the to be verb meant for any other subjects except the I subject, and then plus the base form of the verb read, plus the ing form, where in this case the verb read becomes reading, then followed by a book, in this case is the object. So in full, aside from the first positive sentence with I as the subject, there, let's also look at the positive or the affirmative sentences in the present continuous tense with other subjects, as in the following. Please listen to me saying them. You are reading a book. He is reading a book. She is reading a book. It is reading a book. we are reading a book, you are reading a book, they are reading a book. Now let's look at how to form the negative sentences. Also, please refer to the formula on how to form them in the present continuous tense. To form the negative sentences in the present continuous tense is very simple. We just need to add not after the to be verbs, in this case am, is, are, or before the base form of the verb followed by the ing form, as in the formula suggested for this type of the question. So as or subject, in this case I, you, he, she, it, we, you and they, plus the to be verbs, again in this case am, is, are, plus not, then plus the base form of the verb followed by the ing form plus o or object. Please refer to the first negative sentence, I am not reading a book, where I in this case is the subject, followed by am, the form of the to be verb, plus not, then followed by the base form of the verb read, plus the ing form, where the verb becomes reading. So in full, the sentence is I am not reading a book. Notice we are just adding not there after the to be verb am. I am not reading a book. The same thing also applied to you, she, he, it, we, you and they, where in this case are the subjects, then followed by is, the form of the to be verb followed by the third person singular subject, and are, the form of the to be verb as well followed by any other subject except with the I subject, plus not, then followed by the base form of the verb read, plus the ing form, and then plus the object, a book. So in full, aside from the first negative sentence, I am not reading a book, so the negative sentence for the rest of the subjects are you are not reading a book, he is not reading a book, she is not reading a book, it is not reading a book, we are not reading a book, you are not reading a book, they are not reading a book. Now let's look at the interrogative sentence or questions with the to be verbs am, is and are in the present continuous tense. But notice there are two different types of questions concerning the to be verbs in the present continuous tense. First is the question where the to be verbs, in this case am, is, are, comes at the beginning of the question, usually known as the yes or no response, or the closed-ended questions. Why? Because the answers to this type of questions are also the closed-ended answers. And then the questions where the to be verbs, in this case am, is, are, comes after the question words what, where, when, why and how, or before the subjects I, you, he, she, it, we, you and they. Let's look at the first part, where the questions with the to be verbs placed at the beginning of the questions. Please notice that to form the questions in this case, we form it by reversing the to be verbs. For example, instead of saying I am as in the positive sentences, we have just gone through, I would say am I, as suggested in the following formula. Please have a closer look. So, the formula for this part, the to be verbs am, is, are, plus the subject, in this case I, you, he, she, it, we, you and they, then followed by the base form of the verb plus the ing form, then followed by the object, and then plus the question mark. Please now let's look at the first question. Am I reading a book? Where am in this case is form of to be verb followed by the subject I, and then plus the base form of the verb read plus the ing form where the verb becomes reading, and then plus the object. Don't forget to add the question mark at the end of the question, where in full the question is, am I reading a book? I repeat, am I reading a book? And the possible positive response to the question is, yes, you are, while in the negative response is, no, you are not, or no, you aren't. The same thing is also applied to the questions with the to be verbs followed by the rest of the subject, where the to be verb in this case is are and is, followed by the subject you, he, she, it, we, you and they, again plus the base form of the verb read, then followed by the ing form to make the verb becomes reading, plus a book, in this case is the object, and then plus the question mark, where in full, as suggested by the formula, the questions are in the following. Also, please refer to the affirmative or the positive and the negative response to the questions. Let's start. Are you reading a book? Yes, I am. No, I am not. Or no, I'm not. Is he reading a book? Yes, he is. Or no, he is not. Or no, he isn't. Or no, he's not. Is she reading a book? Yes, she is. Or no, she is not. Or no, she's not. Or no, she isn't. Is it reading a book? Yes, it is. No, it is not. Or no, it's not. Or no, it isn't. Are we reading a book? Yes, we are. No, we are not. Or we are not. Or no, we aren't. Are they reading a book? Yes, they are. No, they are not. Or no, they are not. Or no, they aren't. Remember, there is no construction for the short positive response between the to be verbs am, is, or are and the subjects. For example, it is wrong to say, yes, I'm, but yes, I am, and not yes, she's, but yes, she is, and not yes, you are, but yes, you are. But there is an exception. We can only apply the construction with the to be verbs either between it with the subject or with the word not, as for the short negative response. For example, instead of saying no, you are not, we can say it this way: no, you're not, or no, you aren't, and no, she's not, or no, she isn't, or no, I'm not only. Now let's look at the questions where the to be verbs am, is, are come after the question words. What where, when, why, and how, or before the subject I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Please also refer to the formula on how to form the questions with this concern. In the formula, the question word, in this case what, where, when, why, and how, comes at the beginning of the question, and then plus the to be verbs, in this case am, is, are, plus s or the subject, in this case I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they, plus the base form of the verb, then followed by the ing form, plus o or the object, and then plus the question mark. Let's look at the first question. What am I watching on TV? Where what in this case is the question word, followed by am, the form of the to be verb, and then plus the subject I, and then plus the base form of the verb watch, and followed by the ing form, where the verb watch in this case becomes watching, and then followed by the object on TV plus the question mark. So what am I watching on TV? Also, the possible answer to the question is you are watching Indiana Jones, for example. Now we have done the first question. Please refer to the rest of the questions with any other subjects, wherein the same rules are applied as suggested by the formula. Again, the question word, either what, where, when, why, and how, comes at the beginning of the question, followed by is, the form of the to be verb, plus the third person singular subject, he, she, or it, and then are, which is also the form of the to be verb, followed by any other subjects except the I subject, and then plus the base form of the verb plus the ing form, then followed by the object, and then the question mark placed at the end of the question. Let's look at them. Please also listen to me saying each of the question plus the possible answer to each of the question. Where are you going now? I'm going home now. Why is he, or why is she, or why is it coming back? He's coming back for his children, or she's coming back for her children, or it's coming back for its children. Remember, don't mistake its as in its children to its coming, because its in this case is the construction of it is, while its as in its children is the possessive adjective. Why are you reading this book? I'm reading it for the final exam. How are they feeling now? They are feeling good now. Why are we singing the national anthem? Because we are preparing for the National Independence Day celebration. Now let's look at some spelling changes we need to make to the verb in the present continuous tense. In general, we basically just need to put the ing form at the end of all verbs when using the present continuous tense. Please refer to some of the verbs in the table. Read, reading. wait, waiting, work, working, watch, watching, eat, eating, speak, speaking, cook, cooking, start, starting, do, doing, stay, staying, fix, fixing, inform, informing, etc. However, for some verbs that are ending in E, we just need to drop the E and then add the ing form instead. For example, the verb make. To make it becomes making, we need to omit the letter E and add the ing form instead. So the verb make becomes making. Please refer to some more of these verbs in the table. Rate, rating, use, using, take, taking, write, writing, drive, driving, take, taking, have, having, save, saving, share, sharing, shake, shaking, etc. For verbs that are ending in IE, we also just need to drop the IE and then add Y instead plus the ing form. As the example in the verb tie. To make it tying, we just need to omit the IE and then add Y instead plus the ing form. Then the verb tie becomes tying. Please look at some more verbs in the same concern in the table. Die, dying, lie, lying, etc. And notice that there are also verbs that are ending in a CVC pattern, where in this case C stands for consonant, V stands for vowel, and then C again there stands for consonant. Let's look at the verb stop. I would suggest to look at it from the end of the verb stop, where the last letter of the verb stop is P, and P is the consonant, and preceded by the vowel O, where the vowel O is preceded by the consonant T again, where in this case the verb stop has the CVC pattern. To make it a verb with an ing form at the end of the verb stop based on the pattern, we just need to double the last consonant letter and then add the ing form instead, where in this case the verb stop becomes stopping. Or in short, verbs ended with a consonant preceded by a vowel, we just need to double the consonant and add the ing form instead. Let's look at some more examples in the table. Sit, sitting, run, running, swim, swimming, get, getting, sit, sitting, put, putting, skip, skipping, travel, traveling, regret, regretting, etc. Remember, do not double the letter if the verbs end into consonant. As for example, help, helping, work, working, walk, walking, talk, talking. Alright, again in this last minute to conclude our lesson today, I would like to remind you on the WHO's continuing encouragement on the individuals in the world, and that is of course including all of individuals in Timor-Leste, to take care of your own health and protect others during the COVID-19 pandemic by washing hands frequently with water and soap or using hand sanitizing gel, maintaining social distancing, keeping a distance of 1 meter or 3 feet between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing, avoiding touching eyes, nose and mouth, following respiratory hygiene, covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze, and then disposing of the used tissue immediately. Seeking medical care early if you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, and staying informed and following advice given by your healthcare provider, national and local public health authority, or your employer on how to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. Alright, that's it for today. You have been fantastic learners. Goodbye.